Morning, Deb. It's a gloomy Glendale, Arizona, hopefully with rain soon. You know what, Deb? We've got the same thing up here. It is gloomy, it is morning, and we are expecting rain. Good morning, Di. Good to see you. Welcome. Today we're going to be looking at Spinifex 3. One of my favorites. Monica, good morning from Durand, and Linda from the United Arab Emirates. Oh, good. I'm glad you got a chance to see last night. I hope you enjoyed it. And Carla is here as well. Good morning, Carla. Good to see you. Have y'all got your cup of coffee or drink of morning preference drink? Mine happens to be Mountain Dew diet, of course. I don't drink coffee. I haven't since I worked midnight shift at the sheriff's department. Christina, good morning. And Lee, welcome from Indiana. Mary Lou is here from Fredonia, New York. And Linda Lombardo, my buddy from Michigan. Donna, hi from North Carolina. Deanna from Prineville, Oregon. See, the last time we spoke to you, Deanna, it was hot, hot, hot. I hope it's cooled off a little bit for you. Debbie, hi from Bloomington, Illinois. And Linda is here all the way from Brisbane, Australia with her hot chocolate. In case you don't know, it's winter in Brisbane right now. Oh, oh, thank you, Linda. She loves the variegated thread that I use. You know, it's really interesting. I'm working on a project right now. One of the things that I'm going to be talking about in this project that I'm working on that you'll see come up is different sizes of thread. I'm having a ball with it, guys. I really am. I can't wait for you to see it. But wait, we must. What is it they say? Good things come to those who wait? Well, let's see what this Spinifex 3 looks like, okay? Whoa, I have got a little bit of a different setup here, you can tell, and that's because I'm doing a little different kind of filming, and I've got my big machine out. Hi, Jackie. Jackie's joining us all the way from Drumheller, Alberta, Canada. Welcome. And Kathy from Long Island, always a pleasure. Patsy, you as well. Well, good morning, Chris. Chris is just up the hill, so she knows what it's like here. And Pam from the ski resort mountainous region of Maine, not the coast. Enough. And Tippy is looking for more treats. Priscilla's here from Oklahoma. Good morning, Priscilla. It always does my heart good to see you all coming on in the morning or in the evening. I just think we have a lot of fun together, and I thoroughly enjoy spending time with you. So I have no one monitoring tonight this morning, so I will check as diligently as I can for questions. Spinifex 3. Spinifex 3, I think, is the only Spinifex that is asymmetrical. We've talked about symmetrical and asymmetrical templates before. And what that means is if it is symmetrical, it is exactly the same on the right side of the vertical center line as it is on the left side. This is not. So if it is an asymmetrical template, we like to put stable tape on both sides because you know I'm going to tip it around. I just have to do that. I mean, if we have all these options, let's use them, guys. Of course, we have the 5 sizes, the 3.5, 5.5, 7.5, 9.5, and 11.5. And this does come in the mini 1 and 1.5 and 2.5. I forgot. Oh, my brain isn't working this morning. It is the 2.5 and 1.5. I got it right. Okay, so if we look at this, what a cool leaf shape that is, isn't it? I think it is so awesome. Let's see. Jillian says, She's in Blue Mountains, New South Wales. Northern South is New South Wales, and she should be asleep, but Jillian, we're glad you're here with us instead. Okay. Now, the new templates do come with a needle channel. Mine are old. I've got gates in them, and that's okay because I've learned how to use them. They do all have this tack for the center, which means we can make a 2-inch circle around the center with the templates coming out from them. Now, what you're probably going to notice, and I'm just going to pull you up a little tiny bit here. Okay, there we go. Make sure you're all focused in. This is a high shank machine. Now, if this were a high shank, if let's put it this way, it is a high shank machine. It's not if it was. It is a high shank machine. If this were the only machine I did ruler quilting on, I would get high shank templates. But y'all know I love my Singer 301. That is a short shank machine. Actually, it's a slant shank, but it is short. It's not tall like these guys. Therefore, I get low shank templates. Will they work on my high shank machine? Absolutely, they will. Now I do have a mid arm, which is nothing but a sit down long arm. Okay. That one hops. The foot hops on that one. I cannot use these templates on that machine. What I've decided to do on that machine, because it's very new to me, is to get long arm templates for it. Okay, so you see there's good reason why we make them in these different sizes. So we have the short, we have the low shank templates, we have the high shank templates. Those are for domestic machines mostly. And then we have the long arm templates. When you order long arm templates, please remember to indicate that you want the gate. Many of the long arm templates, you cannot use the needle channel in. Okay, so test that out. Make sure you know that's a real just short down and dirty little lesson there on high shank, low shank, medium shank, all kinds of shanks. Okay. So what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and get a 16-point crosshair in here. I'm going to turn some light on now. Hmm. Okay, let's take a look. Susie's here. Good morning, Susie. Oh, Kathy says the coupon's not working for today's templates. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and send a message. Last night's weren't working either. Okay, so here we go. And last night we had spinning waves 1, 3, and 5. There we go. There we go. All right, Judy's here. Welcome. Marsha's here from Spring, Texas. Is it always spring in your town, Marsha? Oh, Greenleaf, Wisconsin. It's a great place, actually. Okay, so here we are, guys. Let's go ahead and let's start with our first Spin-e-Fex 3. I'm gonna start with the 5.5 inch. Reason being is it gives you more room to see it. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a 4-point rotation. And yep, you can see it. Okay. Turn that on. Now we can see it better. And I can even almost see it. Okay, guys, I need to set this machine up. I put it back into regular stitching mode last night. And so my needle position is off. I am going to quickly change the foot out because I have our specialty foot in there instead of the regular ruler foot. And I'm looking in the wrong place. I got so much stuff here, it's not even funny. Okay, there it is. And we'll get a little screwdriver here. You know, there's something you folks don't know about my husband. He's overly organized, not like me, but he does make sure that I'm somewhat organized. So when I go to find things, they're right where they're supposed to be. So this is okay because it's a good review how we put our foot on. I'm going to put it on and find the little hole where I put my screw in. There it is. Now, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to screw it down tight. Okay. I'm just going to just leave it very loose like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my foot down. What I want is I want this to just kiss the top of the fabric. And that is exactly what it is doing. Come on. There we go. So now I can tighten it. Remember, you don't want to heave down on that screw. You just want a nice, good finger tightness. Okay, going to lift that up. And what I have is a decorative thread foot in here, which is no problem. Okay, I'm not going to be using decorative thread, I don't think, but what it's not going to affect the way that I'm stitching. So here we go. Let's get this party started. Okay. And I can always come back to my machine if I need to and just make some little tiny adjustments. And these are things, guys, that I don't get to do on my Singer 301. So I get really excited when I get to do this stuff. Sadly, though, I hit you with my foot when when I'm moving things around. I apologize. Okay, we're going to do 4 rotations here. And I'm going to put my needle down function on because I can. And we're going to take it nice and slow. What we're going to do is because we're on a curve here, I would like you to make your stitches a little bit smaller because it's going to make that curve look much smoother. Our sewing machines, I know you've heard me say it, they can only stitch in a straight line. So if we stitch big stitches, it's going to look jagged. Whereas if we stitch smaller stitches like this, it is going to look really pretty and smooth. Okay, there it is. I thought I lost my scissors here. This is practice piece. I'm just going to cut these threads off. I'm not going to worry about them. Okay, and here we go. Now we're going to come down the other side. And again, keeping those stitches a little bit on the shorter side. and back to the center. Now I like to come to the opposite side. The opposite side is so that when I get my fabric pulling in, it does it in an even manner. And up to the top. We definitely wanna hesitate on this stitch up at the top because as you can see, it's going to be a sharp turn, okay? We'll show you that here. As soon as I move around. All the way back down to the center. I like to slow down just a little bit. And oops, I dropped something. Isn't that a surprise? Okay, here we go. This is the sharp turn that I told you about. We definitely want to make sure that we get that stitch in really well. Well, Susan's here from Omaha. Welcome, Susan. And Rena has made it. She said arriving late. It's okay, Rena. It's okay. You can always watch the replay, and I don't take attendance. So what I'm doing here is I am making sure that I've got all of these points going in the same direction. And so it's gonna kind of look like one of those little whirly-gig things that we had when we were kids. Some of us put them on our bikes, others were more ambitious and ran around the yard with them, making them spin, causing some air movement. Okay, and back down to center. I got kind of big stitches there, guys. I took off really fast. Again, it's okay. This is practice. This is where we hone those skills. Okay, and we're going to come back one more time, and we're going to have our 4-point design here with our Spin-e-Fex 3. I am using the 5.5 inch. And we're going to come to the center. And I'm going to now take my template off. Okay? And to do so, I need to open up the gate. I'm not taking my needle out, but isn't that pretty? It really is. And there's some things we can do with this. I'm going to show you that in a little bit. But first, what I want to do is I want to flip the template over. Right now, we've been stitching with the template in this orientation. I want to flip it into this orientation. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, take the gate out, slip it on. I'm going to replace the gate. And you see, it wasn't that difficult to do. Now, if you look when we line this up, you're going to notice that this point, instead of being on the left side of the line, is now on the right side of the line. Let's take a look and see what that's going to look like, okay? I love this design. All right, around we're gonna go. Again, we're gonna keep the stitches somewhat short so that they look nice and rounded. Stop when we get to that top of that point. Now, I normally would not turn my piece this often. I'm doing it just so that you get a good reference in the camera because you need it. Okay, there we go. And back to center. Now, again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go directly across, line up my template on that vertical center reference line. And we're going to come all the way up Don't forget to make that extra stitch, or what I like to call hesitation stitch at the top. We're going to come down and now we're going to do the two sides. Whoa, I didn't have it set up quite right. There we go. Okay, that was a surprise. That's okay, it worked out. Extra stitch. Coming back. It's such a good skill to be able to stitch in all directions. And you notice I didn't say all four directions because when we have our quilts in here, it's a lot more than four directions. And it is a skill that I encourage everyone to practice. Because when a small square like this, it's really easy to move your square around to get it where you need to be. But if you have a big quilt in here, it's not going to be that easy. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do one small section at a time without turning anything. All right, here we go. I am going to go ahead. I'm going to take this out. And is that adorable or what? This alone could look like a tulip just opening up, but all together, it just gives a really, really awesome. I'm going to go ahead and pull this back just a little bit because I've got to zoom. We can zoom in on this if we want to. And we're going to set that. Okay, there we go. Isn't that beautiful, guys? I'm loving this. I absolutely love this template. This is the Spin-e-Fex 3. Let's see where we're going. Daniela is here from Pella, Iowa. And Lisa is at a quilt retreat having a ball. Oh, Lisa, I'm so jealous. Suzanne, another Michigander from Applegate, Michigan. Donna likes that. I love it, Donna. She says, I really like that. And bonus, I already have this set. Awesome. So you're going to get some ideas as to how to use it today. Debbie says she likes it. It's so pretty. And it really is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a couple more on here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the 7.5 inch. This is going to pull this design out quite a way. But what we're going to do is we're only going to do from here to here both ways. Okay. And I'm lining it up just like I would line up any one of my rotations. I'm going to come here. Whoops. I'm so not used to this machine, guys. Okay. Yeah, I should be, but I still reach for that hand wheel instead of the buttons that are right here. So each time I reach for the hand wheel, I bump it and I apologize. Okay. And here we go. So we're only going to do the upper portion. Now, with this kind of design, we do a lot of traveling. And you certainly can, if you're uncomfortable traveling, what you can do is you can break thread and move to the next petal. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. If I was doing this in the traveling, what I would do is I would just go ahead and move this over a little bit and come down. then I would come back up. Now what I'm doing is I'm coming down on this line, coming back up on this line. And I've got a decorative thread foot in here. So my vision is somewhat limited, but it's a clear one and it's okay. It's going to be good enough for practice. Okay, getting to that top right there. I'm going to turn this now, and we're not quite there yet. We need to be able to line it up on the 45-degree line. So we're going to come down, and I'm going to keep that template somewhat close because we're going to have to trial some of the areas here. And the next question I anticipate is, how do you make sure it's in the right spot? What we're going to do is we're going to line up this bottom line here, and we are going to line up the top line here. So what you're going to notice is I came down further than I needed to, okay? I could have put the template right here. A good way to do that on each successive one is to go ahead and mark it. Use a chalk marker or something like that. And we're going to go ahead and come back up. It's not that many stitches. And now we're going to come in and make that second rotation. And stop here. Now somebody is thinking, whoops. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Okay, Kim said she would like to see the process without turning the fabric. Absolutely, Kim, not a problem. Okay, so now on this one, we came here and somebody's going to ask, well, why do we have to come down here and then back up here? We want to be on this side to set ourselves up. If we come, let's see let's just take this out. It's going to be easier to show you guys while it's out, I think, okay? So I'm coming down here and then skipping over to this line and coming up and then come back this way. We could, if we wanted to, come all the way down here and then come all the way down here on that outside line and come up on this outside line. We certainly could do that. That would leave both of these upper portions the same weight. In other words, one wouldn't be double stitched and the other one single stitched. The other thing we can do is break thread. And when we're at this point, what we can do to make it a little easier, I'm going to go ahead and put the foot down, put my needle down, pull it up somewhat. And there we go. I have to hand raise that manually because my machine won't let me do it any other way. It's one of those machines that's smarter than me. So I could, guys, I really, this would be totally doable. Come in here and say, it's about here that I need to stop. And I mean about there. It's not going to be perfect. So let's go ahead, go down and come up the other side because I want to show you each way that is doable. Okay, there we go. I'm going to travel. You could put the other template on. If you're comfortable traveling, that's awesome. Traveling is a very important skill, not just in ruler work, but in free motion. and in decorative stitching. Now what I'm going to do, I am going to show you all in the same direction. No, Kim, don't, was it Kim has? Yeah, I will definitely be showing you Kim. This is just for this portion. Okay, and up we're gonna go. And we're gonna stop at the mark, close to the mark. Let's just stop close to the mark. Let's line our template up now. Okay. Whoops. I was gonna line it up on the wrong line. Ah, that's not good. Okay, here we go. I've got it lined up down here, line up here. You'll see it was about that far away. Not a problem. We're just gonna come and go ahead and get the rest of it. And we're gonna come up like this. Okay. So now I think you guys got the idea. I have a lot of stuff that I want to show you, so I'm not going to go ahead and finish this one out, but it's really going to give you a good idea of what this is going to look like and how you need to move around. The reason for doing this. Okay, there's always going to be a reason, right? The reason for doing this is making a circle fit into a square. And that is the reason that I went up a size on the corners. Now you can come back and do the same, come here and do that. And you can do the same thing. And this isn't going to be exact because I don't have my 1/4 inch. I don't have my stitching lines here, but you can come back and make that mimic that. So this is how you put a circle into a square. Okay. Now, Kim wants to see me do it all in one shot. And Kim, I am happy to do that. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to do some more embellishment too, okay? So, hi, Milagro. Milagro, what a pretty name. Just got in from New Jersey. Welcome. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to move this back a little bit and move it up a little bit. I want you guys to see this really well. I think I'm going to move it up a little bit. I love this camera. It affords me so many functions. And I'm going to take the 9.5 this time. I don't have staple tape on both sides. It's okay on this one because we're only going to be doing one way. And let me just check here. Yep. I am going to change this foot again. There we go. Remember, don't tighten these screws way down. Has something to do with one, not being able to get it off, and calling your husband and asking him to bring a can of WD-40 doesn't work. Because all that happens then is you get the eye. You know the eye. The eye, like, you know better than this. And you kind of go, yeah, I do know better than this. I wasn't thinking. There we go. Oh, thank you. I'm glad I pronounced it right. I'm never quite sure. Okay, so here we go. I'm kissing the top of that fabric again, liking that really well, and tightening it finger tight. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our template on here. Now, again, what I like to do is start with 4 rotations, and then I like to add rotations. Um, I want you to see all the different types of rotation, how all these different numbers of rotations work. Okay, there we go. I like to put my thread underneath. I am lining up my horizontal center. And this time we're not going to change the direction. We're not going to change the fabric. Okay. Not going to change the direction of the fabric. I don't think I've ever had anyone ask me that before, Cam. Thank you. Remember, it's not a race. Take your time. I'm the kind of person where I pretty much do everything slow anyway, but I find especially when I'm sewing, whether it be quilting, garment making, template quilting, whatever, taking your time and thinking things through always makes the product so much more professional in the end. So I do take time. Now, this template is right on the cusp of being a little bigger than my hand is comfortable doing. So what you're seeing is you're seeing this, my right hand here is kind of scrunched in a funny position. My left hand is here, but it's not laying down relaxed like it should be. And the reason why is because I'm trying to hold this template from edge to edge. And what I should be doing, I'm glad I caught myself so I could show you, is I should be just very comfortably laying my hand on the portion of the template that I'm stitching. Okay, so we're going to turn this around. I'm going to lay my hand on the bottom portion of this template and we're going to start around. Checking to make sure you all have a good view. I'm going to stop with my needle down and I'm going to move my hands. Always keeping my hands really nice and relaxed. This is something that I just really came to realize just recently, that I was holding my templates tighter than they needed to be held. And by doing that, I was kind of forcing myself to turn my fabric in odd ways and try to force it through under the needle too fast. So when I figured that out, I had no choice. I just ended up floating right next to that template. And I'm going to tell you, my stuff just started looking better. It really did. I know that I'm an instructor, but we are constantly learning too. And what I like to do is anything that I do learn, I will pass along to you guys. And I will pass along my mistakes too, because I think that you can learn valuable lessons from that as well. Because we all do make mistakes. That's just going to happen. Okay. Now I'm going to come to one side, lining up my vertical center here, which is actually now my horizontal. And something's not quite right. There we go. I was off just a little bit. Sometimes that happens because we're sitting back so far. I have a camera between me and my sewing machine. And sometimes the lining up can be a challenge. And it's a challenge worthy. Okay, I'm just going to move my hands to make them more comfortable. taking that hesitation stitch. You don't have to stop stitching, just take the hesitation stitch. One of the other things you're going to find is that when you are stitching to the left to right or right to left, one side's going to be easier than the other side, which I think is quite interesting. And I guess going backwards and forwards, it would follow that that would be that way also. However, I don't find that much difference going forwards and backwards. Let me check. Okay. Daniela says she loves the idea of creating tulips with this template. Absolutely. We can create. That's a wonderful thing. You guys can create a ton of stuff that I haven't even thought of yet. Oh, you're welcome, Lisa, for the reminder. Good morning. Betty's here from Oregon. Di, you bring up a very good point, and I do want to address it because you're absolutely right. On the large templates, she usually adds some stable tape about midway as well, and that is a great thing to do. Di, I try to do that. Obviously, this one I haven't used yet, so I don't have it on. Oh, yeah, the death grip. Sweet Tennessee Life, the death grip. I worked with these templates with a death grip for a while before I realized if I had a death grip, I was making my shoulders ache. I was making my hands ache. At the end of the day, I had to get my shoulders outside of my ears because they actually, they push themselves right into my ears. Shoulders do not make good looking earrings, just so you're aware, okay? My opinion only. But the other thing is when you've got that death grip, you absolutely want to hunker over that so you're getting your shoulders and your whole back. Posture when we're sewing is really important. Keep that back nice and straight. Use those arms the way that they're intended to be used. And sweet Tennessee, you are going to have a lot of very successful sewing ahead of you and everyone else. Good morning, Nancy Blocker. How are you? And Barbara Douglas. So good to see you. Always so good to see you, my dear. Okay, so we are now going on the fourth rotation, and this one is going to the left. There's another thing to think about while you're sewing, and that is your chair. Okay, I got some flagging going on here, guys. My husband and I came to the conclusion that my chair is not optimal. Okay. And it's an office chair, and I got it from probably a big box store because that's about the only place we have to get stuff like this. And we've been looking now for several months for a really good chair that will help us, or help me to minimize back issues. Let's put it that way. We want to minimize back issues. They're not easy to come by, but if I ever do find just the one, we'll definitely make sure to let you know what it is. The other thing is don't buy it sight unseen, or should I say, don't buy it untested. You want to sit in it before you purchase it. Okay. Um, that's one of the things that really keeps us from being able to buy anything where we are at. We're very rural, and we've got to go a long way to get anything. So in other words, we have to wait till we just happen to be in a city. So here are our four again. Okay, let's go ahead and do some embellishment on this four. because that is where the fun really starts. We'll go ahead and put that down. I am back in the middle. I did not flip my template over. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but I didn't. Okay, let's see where we got. Oh, Jan's here. Good morning. Oh, and Patsy's here too from Ohio. I think she comes in so I can sing. I think she likes my singing voice. Ah, okay. Jan says she sent 2 messages, but they're going slow. Okay. Debbie says she loves her arrow chair. So yeah, think about that. Linda J says a saddle stool was a life changer for her. Priscilla likes it when I don't turn the likes it when I don't turn the template, just move the fabric. Okay. Kathy asks, is there a pinhole in the puzzle piece gate for this template? Yes, Kathy. All Spin-e-Fex have that, and I'll show you how to use that. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we've got. Okay. So okay, wait a second. Where did it go? Priscilla says she likes it when I don't move the template, just the fabric. Okay. And Kim wanted to see the process without turning the fabric. So Kim, I think we've done that. Let me know if you want to see more. The reason that I don't normally do that is because it's easier for you all to see what I'm stitching if I move the fabric around. What I'm going to do here, and I know you guys have seen me do this before because it's one of my favorite embellishments. And the reason why is because it's easy. I like easy. But I call it you get a big bang for the buck, okay? Which means to me is that you get a lot of really complicated looking lines that aren't, okay? So let's go ahead. The first thing I'm gonna do, here's where my template is normally placed, right here with my vertical center on the center of my template. I'm going to twist that template so that this edge or my line of stitching is just grazing that line on just grazing the template. And take one stitch in place. Now this is one you don't have to go a whole lot on if you don't want. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come about halfway here. Halfway between these reference lines. And is it going to be measured? No, it's going to be eyeballed. I know eyeballing can be dangerous, but I think in this case it's okay. I'm going to come back down to the center. Move my hands. When I move my hands, I never let go of my template though. We don't want that template to go for a ride. And my foot just came loose. Yes, man, it did. Okay, there we go. How did I know my foot came loose? I was skipping stitches. Okay, now I'm going to turn it again, twist it again, and just let this line of stitching fall at the edge of my template. Now this time I'm not going to go as far. I'm going to stay about 1/4 of an inch away, which means as soon as the tip of my foot touches or lines up with the tip of that stitching, I'm going to take one stitch in place and head back to center. Now this is a big template. On a small template, I may only do 2 of these lines, but because this template is quite large, we can get away with more. So I'm going to twist it one more time. And again, I'm going to come up. Now, what's really cool is if you wanted to change the color of your thread to do this, would be awesome. If you wanted to change the weight of your thread to do this, would be awesome. And I will show you what will happen if you change the weight of your thread, and we'll do that on the next petal, okay? So you see this nice, just beautiful little embellishment. Absolutely beautiful. Now this is done with a 40 weight thread. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out, yeah, that one's going to definitely show. And this is a 12 weight thread. Oh, Priscilla, you are quite welcome. She likes my embellishment stuff. I guess that's the one thing I play with more often than not is, trying to get different looks. Now, this is a 12 weight thread, which is pretty hefty thread. What I have on my machine is I have a 90/40 90/60 90/14, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this right, needle, but I've got a large eye on it. It's an embroidery needle, so it has a large eye. I really didn't expect this thread to stitch as gorgeous as it does. No, it's not that one, it's this one. Okay, drinking caffeine, guys. This thread is from Wonderful. Love their threads. Okay, foot goes down, needle goes down and back up. I am got a 40 weight in the bobbin. I keep that in there. A lot of times I keep a 50 weight in the bobbin. Okay, well, over there. There we go. So I'm going to line myself up again. I'm going to make that twist. One stitch in place. There we go. It's getting a little thick in the center. That's the one thing that you're going to notice. But you see how beautiful this stitch is? You forget you have such a heavy thread in there. And look at the vibrancy of that embellishment. Okay, we're going to twist it again. Coming out of here, you want to come out slowly because you have a lot of thread building up there, and it's really easy to skip a stitch in there. Now, that's the bad news. The good news is if you do, nobody's ever going to notice it because it's going to be stitched over again. So you're pretty safe. Whoops, there we go. And that's my machine, guys. We're going to come back to center. We're going to do this one more time. Okay. Going to come and twist. and get out of there as quickly as we can because of the fact that there is so much thread in there. And back in. Now, what I can do, if I don't want this getting any thicker, I can come to this point here and I can stop and break thread, because what you're going to see is it is never going to show because there is so much thread here. You can't really tell where I ended it. Okay, I'm going to pull you in on that point. And this is where I'm talking about. I ended it about here, but you really can't tell that I did that because there is so much thread. But here is the difference. The difference between the 12 weight and the 40 weight. Again, huge difference. Sew's the same, just gives you more bang for the buck. Okay, let's go ahead and back you back out here. Okay, let's see where we're at. Okay. Um, Priscilla says, it lets me see how to use the template if I was actually quilting on full-size quilt. Yes, you're right, Priscilla. And quite honestly, if you wanted to make this an edge-to-edge design, you could meet these tips and keep going, okay? Or you could take the row above and put the templates in like this. And what we do is we call that, yeah, I know, I know the word for this, but it is um, staggering the designs. So that works well also. All right, and let's see. Good morning, Jean. Good to see you. Okay, Linda says she likes quilting with heavier threads sometimes. Yes. Oh, Donna, thank you. Bless your heart. Nesting is the word. Nesting is the word. Linda said it too. Nesting. Okay, you guys, I appreciate you. I really do. So that is one of the things we can do. I want to put just a couple more rotations here, but I'm going to do it with our regular thread. Pull this guy out. And this size thread, if you want to add some hand embellishment, this is a good thread to do it with. So what you might want to do is some French knots up here, or some little lazy daisy stitches, or something like that. There's all kinds of things we can do. There's more ideas than there are days. Okay, here we go. And that is the reason why I prefer to just stay in my sewing room all day long. What can I come up with now? Sometimes it's not good. Uh, Whoops, wrong one. Like too many machines, they have different buttons for different stuff. There we go. Now I will tell you, um, if you're going to do more than 4 rotations here, and let's take a look, the embellishments aren't going to work really well because these guys do cross over this bottom section of the design. There we go. Let's pull that bobbin thread up. Perfect. What I do when I am practicing, I use up bobbins. If I have a little bit of thread on one, I use it up. I call them orphan bobbins. They don't belong to any project anymore. Okay, uh, here we go. So what I'm going to show you now is only going to be half, but it would be what it's going to look like 8 rotations as opposed to 4. Now, this is interesting and something else I would like to mention. Remember when I said when we work on the curve, we should have our stitch length shorter. Here we're on a straight line. My suggestion, okay, is when you're making a shorter stitch on this portion of the template, you should continue it through here. Consistency. Consistency is probably the most important thing that you're going to find with your stitching. And that's what's going to make everything look great. I'm just going to cut that thread off here. There we go. Otherwise, it gets all tangled up. I hate it when that happens. And here we go. It does not matter if you go one way or another way on the template. You can go either way you want. And back to center. And you'll see the beautiful secondary designs coming through on this. And that's one of my favorite parts of the Spin-e-Fex. They all have secondary designs, and they can be made into so many wonderful different things. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. And real quick, we're going to put a pin in here, and I'm going to show you how that works as well. So I'm going to come up here. I got a little bit left on this side. We're going to put a crosshair on there because we need a crosshair to get started on. So here we go. Uh, I've got to tell you, I have a habit, and I don't know if it's necessary or not, but when I'm drawing crosshairs, I always do a 16. I put 16 reference lines in there, whether I'm using 8 or not. Of course, unless I'm using one of the specialty rulers, because we do have a 5-point crosshair ruler. We have a 6-point crosshair ruler. We have a 24-point, and I think there's a 32 also. That's a lot of lines, guys. It is. But we learned how to do it in the Starry Night project. And I'm telling you, I turned out loving it. Absolutely loving it. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to take this size here. And this is a 5.5, and I need my tack. And in it's gonna go. And we're gonna push it from the other side. Sometimes I see it right away and sometimes I don't. There we go. Okay, so here is the little hole. What we're going to do is we're going to line up here I'm gonna do the 3.5 because otherwise I'm gonna have to put my lines out further, and we're getting towards the end of what we should be doing here today. Okay, start and end at the bottom. Pull that thread up. Now, there is one thing that I do sometimes like to do, and that is to take my 2-inch simple circle and go ahead and stitch that in. What that does is it gives me a real clear delineation of where I'm going from one line to the next. So here we go. You can come out here. I'm going to turn this around. I want to snip those threads off because I don't want them in our way. And I'm going to come back to the center. Now, what happens here? We can't just go like this because you'll see what happens if we do. It moves that template around. So what we're going to do is we're going to stitch in this with our foot in this impression here, and we're going to stitch to the next line very carefully. Now we're going to make sure that we're lined up. There we go. And we're going to make our next rotation. And this works exactly the same for any Spin-e-Fex template of any size. Okay, so here we go. To the next rotation line. I got one more stitch. There we go. Up and around and back. Needle down. What I'm doing is I am not so much moving the template, I am steadying the template so it doesn't go cattywampus on me. I'm moving the fabric with my right hand. So with my right hand, I'm moving the fabric very slowly. My left hand is just stabilizing the template so it stays, the needle and the foot stay exactly where they need to be to do that traveling from one motif to the next. Take that extra stitch on top. You don't want to take too many though, because you might end up with thread ball up there. Has that ever happened to me? Oh, heavens. You notice I didn't say yes or no. Because if I said no, my nose would grow. uh, I'll do another couple rotations here. The more you do this, the quicker you get at it. It's just a matter of practicing. Every time I do it, I start out slow. Usually by the time I get more to the end of the rotation, I get it at a pretty decent clip, and so it doesn't take long. And then each successive flower that I do takes less and less time. So what's really cool about this, just kind of out of curiosity, what do you all see in this flower here? Because I certainly know what I see. Nancy likes, oh, Deanna's going to harvest lettuce. Um, Sunflower, you know what, Linda? That's exactly the one I see too. It really is. Yeah, sunflower, I like it. This is where you could do 100,000 little French knots in here and have it on yellow fabric, and it would definitely make a sunflower. Cool, huh? And something nice for your fall table. Guys, I think we've come to the end. It is so good to have you here. I really appreciate you spending part of your day with me. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and share. Next week on Monday, we have Donnell here. On Tuesday, we're going to do spinning waves 6, 8, 9. And on Wednesday, we're going to do Spin-e-Fex 2. We're close to being done with our Spin-e-Fex, guys. But we do have other templates, so don't take heart. We're not finished yet. You're welcome, Linda. If you have any questions, sostay.com. Under the Elevate tab, you'll find instructors. All of my contact information is there. Please feel free to use it anytime. And, oh, you guys are so welcome. You really are. You're really too good to me, actually. In the meantime, stay cool. Unless you're in Australia, stay warm. Can't wait to meet you up here again next week. Daniela, I did put a text into So Steady. I will give them a call when I get off of the live here, okay? So until we meet again, let's quilt.